از جمله اساسی ترین کارهای دشمنان ملت ما و کشور ما در مقابله با کشور ما مسائل اقتصادی است. البته در عرصه فرهنگی هم فعالند، در عرصه سیاسی هم فعالند، در عرصه انحصارات علمی هم فعالند، اما در عرصه اقتصادی فعالیت بسیار زیادی دارند. همین تحریم هایی رو که دشمنان ملت ایران زمینه سازی کردند یا اون رو اعمال کردند بر علیه ملت ایران، این به قصد این بود که یک ضربه‌ای بر پیشرفت کشور ما وارد بکنند و او را از این حرکت شتابنده باز بدارند.
What's interesting about Ruzba is if you walk into a room and there are 5 people standing there and you ask which one of them is a courageous political activist and a great patriot for his homeland, you probably would choose Ruzba last. He's a very quiet guy, very unassuming, doesn't look for the limelight, no apparent ego, very soft-spoken, and also chooses his words very, very carefully. In other words, a very modest individual. And also I found him to be a person who is truly loves his native land.
Ruzba is a fascinating man. Here's a fellow that has escaped the tyranny of the regime. He's moved to a country that's accepted him and likes him, and yet he continues to go back to fight for his people in Iran. He continues to go back and organize political opposition to the Islamic regime. And you can't help but admire a person who is so focused on freedom. In fact, I like to describe him as a freedom fighter.
We're seeking for recall for election, but we need to remove the supreme leader from our country. We need to change the Islamic Republic Constitution. We need to remove the Guardian Council from our country. Welcome to Delphi Greek in Little Tehran. Come in, please. After I got freed on the bail from the jail, I escaped from my country and I came to United States end of 2000, and I got a guaranteed political asylum. As soon as I got here, I start to re-networking, re-establish our organization with foreign offices, with my colleagues and my friends who escaped from Iran as well. And also at the same time we start researching on the networking and organization for inside the country and change our organization, public and non-confidential organization, to the underground organization inside the country. In the last decade, we work hard with our limited resources and fighting against the Islamic Republic with all of our tools and our monies. We try to make our money from ourselves and keep our independence so we can fight in our ideal goal, not as an agent for any other organizations or other countries. We are happy after 10 years. We are still independent and we are work with our resources. Every individual in the organization contribute money and every individual work hard in the free market. For example, myself, I'm working in the restaurant and I have my own restaurant as well. One of my main achievements I had in last decades, that was the non-violent activity and actions myself and my organization we had. For example, one of the main and strongest tools against regime, non-violent tools, that's a sanction and divestments. So we successfully push the international community and also in the local states in the region I'm living in, the California. We successfully put a sanction and divestment against the Islamic Republic. And in this case, I found many different individuals and the people who represent the peoples, and they came from the different non-profit organizations and institutions who helped me to achieve these goals. For example, Assemblyman Joel Anderson from San Diego, and at the same time I had the same things and the same hard work with my other friends like Rabbi Abraham Cooper, who is represent the Simon Wiesenthal Center.
We were shocked and dismayed to learn that our state had invested over $24 billion in the Islamic Republic of Iran through our pension systems. So I set forth this bill to divest our pensions from Iran. Nobody had done it in the United States before. It was the first bill in the nation, and nobody really thought that I had much chance of passing the bill. But we built this huge coalition, and we built that coalition because people fundamentally understand how important this is. Ahmadinejad and his regime clearly have said over 300 times it's their goal to build nuclear weapons, eliminate Israel from the face of the earth, and take on the great Satan when referring to the United States. He's been oppressive to his own people, he's been oppressive to the neighboring communities, and this was no place for Californians to be parking their financial funds, especially $24 billion. So we reached out into the community looking for help, and fortunately Ruzbeh Farhinapur contacted our office and offered to help, and he turned out to be our star witness. As we went through the committee hearings, he had to fly up to Sacramento, take time from his busy workday, and testify in front of the public on TV and on radio all the things that he knew about the regime and why this was so important. I personally believe that Ruzbeh was a tipping point in our success, and for that I'm grateful.
One of the key questions in the early efforts to get the world powers, the United States, the European Union, Russia, China, and others, to consider sanctions against the Iranian regime. Here was a key question that was often posed. Isn't it true that if there would be sanctions against Iran, that only the people would suffer, and the people running the regime, the Revolutionary Guard, and Ahmadinejad and the mullahs, they would be untouched? Ruzbeh and other Iranian activists who spoke at the Wiesenthal Center, they delivered a two-part message. First of all, they don't want to see their country at war. And everybody understands that in Iran, with nuclear weapons, it's a threat to regional peace, maybe to the whole world. And so if you want to stop the program, you don't want war, that leaves you basically with only one option before regime change. And that is that you have to downgrade their economic possibilities, and especially in the areas, the highly specialized areas that you need to develop and maintain nuclear weaponry, as well as to be able to maintain a threat to your neighbors. The second point that Ruzbeh and others have made was, yes, it is possible that some of the sanctions will hurt the average person economically, but he said, and others have said it also, look at the demonstrations on the street. People are ready to put their lives in jeopardy in order to try to gain freedom. Don't you think that they're prepared to suffer some economic consequences if it'll help bring about a peaceful end to this particular threat?
His testimony was compelling, and it was a tipping point in moving the bill along to the governor's desk. And later that year, on the floor of the UN, Governor Schwarzenegger announced that he was going to sign the bill into law. We couldn't have moved that bill along, and we couldn't have built the type of support that we received if it wasn't for Ruzbeh in all his hard work. He gave compelling testimony, and we were very pleased to have him on our team.
My main goal and my hope is soon we can bring the regime down and we can make our country free from the foreign occupation we had after last 3 decades in our country. Down with the Islamic Republic, long live Iran, independent, freedom and Iranian Republic.